Welcome to Dating Deja Vu, the podcast where we talk about your patterns, your pitfalls, and your personal growth in modern dating. I'm your host, Christina Hathaway, marriage and family therapist and dating and relationship expert. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the dream girl wound. If you're someone who has it all together, you're beautiful, you're successful, you're fun, you're funny, do you tend to have struggles where guys love bomb pretty early on, but then when you're human, they ghost you? Well, if that's you, we're going to talk about it today. So if your love life is a lot of bit of the same, it might be deja vu, but it also might be you. So let's figure it out together. What is up, Deja crew? Welcome to another episode of Dating Deja Vu. I am so excited to talk about this today because I've actually experienced this with a lot of my clients. A lot of the women that come to me are highly successful women. They are entrepreneurs or they're higher ups in legal, tech, real estate, business. They're absolutely stunning. They're so easy to talk to. They absolutely crush all the areas of their lives except for relationships. And in a part of what I do, we do this parts work, which is originated through internal family systems theory, which is an approach to like how we understand our thinking and our behaviors. And for a lot of these women, the protective part of them is this kind of doll-like, sparkle, perfect little being that they believe if I can just be this perfect little being, then I will receive love. Now, the funny part is that doll, that perfect part of them, we'll call it, has actually been to their advantage, right? They've excelled in their careers. They've excelled in their friend groups. They've excelled in taking care of themselves. But we're going to talk about how the dream girl wound can interfere with your life. So the dream girl wound, it's the idea of you're so fun, you're so beautiful, you're so funny, you're so talented, you're easygoing, right? Until you have an emotion, right? Maybe it's a week, a couple months later, till you have an emotion. The second that person sees you as human, they lose interest, right? And they don't want to be a part of your real human needs, right? They don't want to fall in love with you. The problem is they want to fall in love with this fantasy of you. So the dream girl wound is what happens when we're constantly validated or worshiped for being the dream, the cool girl, the one who's effortlessly sexy, the one who is interesting, lighthearted, unattached. That's a big one. Always down, never needy, right? Never needy. Also, too, I'd say very open to helping others. And you show up in this way. You show up in this way in your relationships. This is a protective mechanism, which we'll talk about, that again has taught you to receive love in this way. The moment though we stop kind of performing or living in that space, the second you let your guard down, when you start sharing things about your vulnerabilities or your insecurities, or God forbid, say what you need, the person is gone, right? They vanish. So why this keeps happening is obviously important. That's what we call this podcast, Dating Deja Vu. If this has happened to you more than once, this is not necessarily a curse. You're not broken, but you are in a pattern, right? You're in that kind of deja vu state. This is the pattern where you feel safest to be loved for what you present, not who you are, right? So a part of your survival, especially if in childhood, was raised with this concept that I need to be exceptional, I need to be perfect. Maybe you got a lot of praise for being pretty. Our parents can put a lot of value on that, or solely people will give you a lot of verbal compliment. Oh, she's so pretty. You're such a pretty little girl, right? The same as in overachieving. You're so smart, and your parents are bragging about all of your accolades, right? You're the girl who made everyone else very comfortable while swallowing your own discomfort. You learn if I'm perfect, they stay, they praise. If I'm messy, they leave. And what happens with this is your nervous system likes to adapt right to it, right? And wires around that belief. So, again, this is about a childhood upbringing where you felt I was only seen, heard, loved, praised if I was exceptional. How I looked, how I acted, what I achieved. And there's so many of you out there. I know because I have a carbon copy of you. And you end up in my chair and you're fucking amazing, but you can't seem to keep a relationship. So if this is you, keep listening. All right. So we then take this concept of I need to be exceptional, to be seen, heard, loved, praised. And as everything in our childhood bleeds into our relationships, we get into these relationships, right? We get into these relationships and we show up. We show the fuck up. We are so helpful and exciting. We're not needy. We go with the flow. We effortlessly look beautiful, even like because we're so down, even after we do that spontaneous thing. And I think of like reality TV and, you're just doing all the things. And of course, like, why wouldn't the partner, we're just going to use male, female here, why wouldn't the man show up and be like, holy shit, she's perfect? I cannot tell you how many of my clients there's like, you are the perfect girl. You're the perfect woman. I've never met anyone like you within like days to weeks of meeting, right? So you're showing up, you're doing your thing. And then again, your vulnerability comes out. You have an emotion. Maybe you just can't show up in that way. Because guess what? I want you to think of it as performative. Like it's a performance. It's not that you're trying to be like the pick me girl. You just know, like, this is all you know. This is all you know in your life is to act in this way. And then as soon as like, okay, I get the person, maybe if I can let my guard down some, they'll still be accepting of me because they treat me like I'm so perfect and they care about me so much. So I'm going to share a little bit more. And obviously you're not having this conversation with yourself. It just naturally happens. But I'm going to share a little bit more about myself. And it's like a bomb was dropped on them. They're just so confused. You don't act this way. Like this isn't normally how you act, or what's going on? Are you on your period? I was watching a movie yesterday and he asked her that because she wanted to ask him a deep question about life. Because what's wrong? Are you on your period? I was like, oh my God, I can't. But the wound, obviously, from childhood and in your relationship, really this wounding of not accepting you for your vulnerabilities and your insecurities and just being more intimate and vulnerable, that wound leaves you very disappointed and it leaves you kind of questioning yourself, right? Like you start to believe like, okay, well, I've got to try harder. You believe maybe not only do I have to try harder, be better, be more perfect, but that those emotions and the things that push people away maybe are too much, right? Or you're acting like a burden, you're acting too needy. So the pattern continues. So you shrink that inner you kind of make bigger that performer you, and you bend to one side only to get caught in the cycle. So you keep being the version of yourself that gets that dopamine hit of you're so perfect, you're beautiful, you're wonderful. Oh my God, God has granted me you, my wish, my queen. That dopamine hit of what we call love bombing, the compliments, the obsession, because being left for showing your truth, that obviously hurts way too much. It hurts way too much. So why wouldn't I just keep getting all the praise and the love and all the things? Usually at the same time, missing a lot of red flags, not even just the red flag of love bombing, but other red flags. So I'm going to share a conversation I had with a client. I'm just going to read this. He told me I was unlike any girl he'd ever met. 3 months later, I asked him to call me more consistently. So she was, oftentimes when we first start meeting some or first start talking to someone, we're texting all the time. We make more space for them. But as time goes on, maybe that dies off. And that is something that is natural. But if you can ask, say, hey, could you call me more? Right. He said I was pressuring him. I used to think, why do you guys chase me so hard and then suddenly lose interest? Now I realize they love the performance of me, not the person. I thought he saw me, but he was just projecting his fantasy onto me and I played the part. So that's from one of my clients and one of the reflections we did. So healing the dream girl wound is incredibly important, but it means getting radically honest with yourself and why you've been in this kind of performative, sparkly role that you've been in, right? Who are you afraid to be if you're not that dream girl, right? And a part of this means to let go of the idea that, of course, love needs to be earned through perfection. As I've talked about on other episodes, like true love and healthy love is when we can share our vulnerabilities, when we can show up in the pajamas and no makeup, when we can make a mistake, trip, fall. This is funny. This weekend, my husband and I were hanging out at home and I went to look for something in the freezer right at the bottom of the freezer. Now, I'm very fit and I can sit in like a Buddha squat easily, but we had like microdosed some THC. Ooh, I know, so crazy. It's like a little droplet you put in your drinks, and then we had a non-alcoholic bev, and we were just chilling, and it was fun. And I went to go find the thing in the freezer, and my ass fell on the ground. It was hilarious. And then I, of course, was laughing so hard, and he's laughing so hard, and it was just funny. That's what relationships should be like. Now, yes, I've been married for a long time, but you should be able to be imperfect, be authentic, right? So that's number two, letting your authenticity, your vulnerability, even your messy side show, right? So letting go of this idea, number one is letting go of the idea of being perfect and having to earn love. Then number two, letting that authentic part of you shine through. That's where the sparkle should be, is who you fucking are, right? Number three is reconnecting to your own self-worth, not just the worth you assign to your image that others see. So the concept of worth, right? Whether you are religious, spiritual, or you just recognize you have a purpose on this planet, is your worth is inherent, meaning it came with you just as you are, right? And it's not until we're taught differently that our worth, so our ability to be accepted, our ability to be seen, heard, that's why we say that a lot, our ability to get love, safety, affection, growth, identity, autonomy, all those things. It's not until someone, usually our family of origin, tells us that's wrong, right? So then this concept of my worth, I assign my worth to my image. An image isn't just your aesthetic image. It can also be the image that other people see me as. So again, perfect, easygoing, like the best, best girl, dream girl, whatever. And we need to step back from that. We need to be able to remind ourselves that we are a human being, not a human doing. And if I'm a human being, I can just be, and I deserve all of those things, that love, that praise, etc. And so do other people. And a part of stepping away from 1, 2, and 3, so letting go of the idea that you have to earn, showing your authenticity and reconnecting to your self-worth, that all three, and then number 4 is learning to disappoint people who only want the highlight reel. So learning to be a disappointment for those codependent people in your life. All this stems from doing the work, right? Uncovering where this started. So we can't change a behavior that we don't understand. I think that's really important for you guys. A lot of programs just want to change the behavior. But if you don't understand why it's there, it's very hard to change. So understanding why it's there, right? Number 2, being able to reframe when we're acting in this way. For my clients, we do parts work where they like name it, they name the part, they externalize the part, and they can be very aware, oh, one of them is Sally, but Sally is like a little perfect doll. Understanding when Sally's starting to come around. What does that feel physically? What does my brain do? What do I like? What is my initial kind of reaction? Understanding that. Number 3 then is connecting back to the self, having some compassion and curiosity in those moments. Oh, that's interesting. Sally, perfect girl, is getting kicked up based on what I know from learning my past. What does that mean I need right now? I'm feeling left out or alone. Okay. I can call a friend rather than try to be perfect for this guy. And I can meet that need for that younger part of myself. Okay. And then one of the most beautiful things is when you can be yourself, authentically you, vulnerable, messy, you're going to learn very quickly if a person is emotionally mature or not. If they're emotionally immature, they're going to be like, you're too much, you're too needy, you're a burden, you're this. Like, I've had guys tell me I'm too much. I'm like, oh, no, you just can't handle emotion and truth and realness. And as soon as you can be that in a relationship, the sooner you're going to find out if someone is healthy or not. Now, I say that with the caveat of we need to have boundaries around how much, like, you're not going to share your innermost thoughts on a first, second, third date. Please don't do that. But say that you're just in conversation and you have a difference of opinion about something. You don't need to get in an argument. You just say, I just see it and I just see it differently. And that is your truth. That right there, if the person's like, oh, well, that's so stupid. Like, why would you? I don't understand. They start arguing. That is emotional immaturity. Where if they're like, that's great. Like, we can totally, see this differently as long as we understand that each other has had a different experience. Great, move on, right? That's emotional maturity. So the sooner you can get it out, the better. The right person won't love you in spite of your death. They'll love you because of it, right? Because of your depth, because of that worth, that inner you. So good. So dream girl, sparkly girl, perfect girl. I see you. I see you, babe. I see you weekly in my coaching sessions. I want you to know that one thing we do need to say here is that part of you is not bad. There is a part of you that thrives, that gets shit done, that is ambitious, right? You take care of yourself. You like to dress well. You have a presence about you. Fuck yeah, you do. Own that and own who she is. She has emotions. She has vulnerability. She has insecurities. One of my friends that I cheered with in college is one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. One of the most beautiful women that I've ever seen in my life. And I know her because she's been a good friend of mine. And she was struggling when we were younger with a lot of insecurity, more than I even fathomed. I thought, well, she's so beautiful. This is before I became a therapist, of course. What's the problem here? It's there, right? Show them all. Show that to everyone. Again, just in closing, if you've ever felt like the dream girl who gets dropped the second she gets real, I want to hear from you. I want to share your stories. DM me your stories or tag a friend who needs to hear this episode. If you're ready to break these patterns for good, of course, you can check the show notes to figure out how to work together with me in my coaching sessions. As always, if you haven't already, please make sure to follow us on anywhere you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple. You can also watch these recordings on YouTube at Dating Deja Vu. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, we're also on socials at Dating Deja Vu on Instagram and TikTok. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that the next time you get into something with someone, you show up like yourself, right? Because it might be deja vu, but it also might be you. Talk to you next time.